Hey guys, so today I was thinking it would be really cool. Oh, there's the cord in my wall that I always try to hide. um, there, my head's covering it now. So I think I'm gonna make a video today about being a woman and mother hunger and the mother wound, which I'll talk about more what that is in a second. And just smashing the patriarchy, okay, guys? Like, let's do this. So, I'm going to start by reading just a few pages from this book that I'm reading right now called Mother Hunger by Kelly McDaniel. Guys, it's so good. Like if you are a woman um, and you had a mother, whether you're adopted or not, just highly recommend reading this book. So I'm not gonna read like okay, I'm like talking pages like on my phone, so it's not really. Anyways, I'll just get into it. So, um, growing awareness of the mother wound, a matrilineal burden that manifests in women and is passed on from generation to generation, gives us the framework for understanding the origin of mother hunger. Mothers carrying their own victimization pass it on to their daughters. Self-loathing and contempt corrupt the mother-daughter bond as hatred of women is shared. So I don't know if you have experience with this, but like my mom just like growing up, she didn't have a lot of friends and she didn't ever like talk positively about women so much, like at least not that I experienced. Anyways, um, a mother's victimization does not merely humiliate her, it mutilates her daughter, who watches her for clues as what it means to be a woman. Like the, like the traditional foot-bound Chinese woman, she passes on her affliction. The mother's self-hatred and low expectations are binding rags for the psyche of her daughter, or of the daughter. Dr. Oscar Saralak describes the transmission of the mother wound by explaining the cultural forces that require women to, quote, to internalize the dysfunctional and, try again, no editing, what can I say? To internalize the dysfunctional coping mechanisms learned by previous generations of women. Sarah describes the mother wound as, quote, the pain and grief that grows in a woman as she tries to explore and understand her power and potential in a society that doesn't make room for it. So, pause for a second. Who can say that this resonates with them? Definitely me. I mean, guys, just like seeing my mom struggle, and I felt like her struggles came from her adopted mom, and maybe genetically from her birth mom as well, and just like even for example, my name is Samantha, but she wanted to call me Sam because this is her reason for it. That when I was an important businesswoman and I would sign my documents Sam, that I would get more respect because Sam was traditionally a man's name. So, like, she even went to the trouble of giving me like a non-gendered name just to try and give me more power, like a leg up against other women and just in the world in general. Uh, and that was the 80s. This wasn't like, oh, I was born in 1912. Like this, this is quite recent. I'm only 33. So, continuing. Mother hunger, in part, is a legacy of the mother wound. Um, Passed from grandmother to daughter, the belief that women are somehow less than men damages our bond with each other as we pass our internalized beliefs about our body, worth, and power to the next generation. This is something that I'm really, really trying not to pass on to my baby. Even when I found out that I was pregnant, I was like, oh, I hope it's not a girl. And isn't that terrible? Like, as a woman, to be like, ugh, I hope it's not another female on this planet. And I didn't mean it like, oh, I hate girls. I was just so worried about what her life was going to be like, just because of the struggles that I went through. I didn't want her to have those struggles. And then the universe was like, oh, you don't want a girl? Here's a girl. So, um, more on that in a second. Where was I? Oh, yeah, the unconscious and epigenetic processes that teach us to be, quote, feminine occur without our consent. So basically, it's started, with our ancestors being treated like less than, and it is still manifesting in our lives today. Ours meaning, if you're a woman and you're watching this, then it's manifested into your life. And we need to like stop this, like that's enough. Um, we are not less than. We are the creators. We are divine just as much as the other gender, or genders, if you will. To be honest, I totally am for people choosing how they want to represent themselves in life. That's none of my business. So if you want to, complain in the comments that I'm being um, like biased or rude about genders, I'm not. People can do what they want, and I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about my experiences. Um, okay, back to the book. Many of us struggle with body shame and limiting beliefs, lessons from our mothers. We watched our mothers starve. We witnessed their boredom and anxiety. We saw them betray their friends and themselves. As a result, many of us have no idea or why we struggle. To us, it is, quote, simply normal. Okay, so I'm going to pause because I just want to have a little chat about that, and then I'm going to come back to the second part. So, just as a woman, I never really respected other women like that. Like, that sounds terrible because obviously I respect people equally. I try to. But especially when I was younger and I was more like involved with Western media, I just would judge people for their bodies. I would be like, oh, she gained some weight, or like, oh, she doesn't look good, or whatever. And I'm not gonna say like, oh, it's 100% me, because I read this thing that was like, the first thought that you have in your mind is what you've been conditioned to think, and then the second thought is actually what you think. So these days, I honestly am really struggling, but succeeding, I think, in not judging other people's outward appearances, because I don't want to be judged for my outward appearance. I don't want to be just a body. I'm a person. I'm a spirit. I'm everything. I'm a brain too. Um, so I'm trying not to do that, and I think I'm, doing pretty good. I mean, I'm not perfect, obviously, but this is something I've been working on a long time. However, when I was younger, because I was so harsh with myself, I was very harsh with other people. I would never say it to their face, and to be honest, I probably wouldn't even like gossip about people that much, except for when I was like in high school, because let's just be real, I was not the nicest person in high school because I wasn't being nice to myself, so I couldn't be really nice to other people. I tried to be, and maybe sometimes I was, but my memories of high school involved me being a real jerk to a lot of people. Um, so, if you're watching this and I was mean to you at any time in my life, not just high school, I'm sorry. I really am. I was taking out my self hatred on other people, and that's not fair. So just know that it wasn't about you. And if somebody is being mean to you right now, not me, because I'm trying not to be mean to anybody these days, but if somebody like in your life is being mean to you right now, it's probably more because you're reflecting something in them that they don't like about themselves. And I know it's hard to believe that sometimes, especially if they're like, no, it is you, da, 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 da. But really, like 95% of the time, it's something that is bothering them about themselves. And they see that in you, and that's why they're being mean to you or bullying you or whatever it is. So please know you are awesome, and you don't need to listen to what other people are saying because who cares? Who cares what other people think? So, going back to this mother hunger, this mother wound that we women all experience, this is something that if we're not careful, we're going to pass down to the next generation. And, you know, whether you're a mother or not, this is important that we stop this in our tracks. We don't need to judge other women based on their appearance or their attitude or whatever. You can just stop that right now. It's not necessary. Work on yourself and what you're bringing to the table. Guys, we have to stop this. We have to stop this because we are just as good as men. There's no debating in this. Like, you know, I was actually even thinking that song Beyonce that did Who Run the World Girls, like I love it. I love like the like yeah attitude, but like I don't want to say it's a joke, but like in some cases it's kind of a joke that women run the world because we do like on the low. I mean, let's be real, but you know, overall, there's still a lot of places where women don't have rights. They're not able to drive. My friend who teaches English online was telling me that she was talking to someone in Kuwait, I think, and she said the women there like can't drive a car, like as in like they're not allowed to. For us Western folk, like can you imagine not having the right to operate a vehicle? This is still happening in the world, and it's more than just oh we're just judging each other. Like there are places in the world where women's bodies are being mutilated because it's tradition made by the patriarchy, and that's not okay. So obviously we can't change everything overnight, but we need to have awareness that we need to make a change in this world, and it starts with ourselves. So it starts with this mother wound, seeing ourselves as less than, because we're not. We're just as equal as anybody else. Wow, big thunder. And yeah. I don't know why. I mean, the patriarchy is it's got a strong hold on all of us, but watching our moms go through this and then adopting these behaviors, it's got to stop with us. It's got to stop with us. My mom used to yo-yo diet so much. I used to yo-yo diet so much just to fit in a certain size, just to try and look a certain way, to hope that people wouldn't talk smack about me. It wasn't even for myself. It wasn't even like, oh, once I get to size 2, I'm going to love myself, because it doesn't work that way. And just, ugh, I think maybe I should just keep reading. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about toxic masculinity, which of course like goes in with the mother wound and you know all of these things. So la la la. This is talking about the hashtag Me Too movement, which to be honest was like super empowering. I felt like, and then I felt like maybe it got taken a little too far, but I don't know for sure because I kind of stopped. This is kind of when I stopped when I dropped out of paying attention to the media. And now I have no idea what's going on with it, to be completely honest. So it seems each decade brings fresh attempts to reverse toxic masculinity and rebalance power between men and women. Toxic masculinity is built on a false belief in the superiority of men. While it might appear that certain men, in brackets white heterosexual men, benefit from this setup, in truth, toxic masculinity is damaging to men too, because the rules of what a man can feel, how he can behave, or what he must achieve force limited access to feelings and vulnerability, the very qualities a man needs to connect with his partner, his children, and himself. In 1975, Laura Mulvey taught us about the male gaze, the way we collectively view women as objects, in her famous essay, Visual Pleasure and Narrative Cinema. Through media collectively, again, pause for a minute, through media collectively, here we go with the shady media, we learn that women exist for the visual pleasure of men, but since we all look at the same things, women learn to see ourselves and each other this way, as objects. Renee Anglin, psychology professor at Northwestern University, identifies the enduring quality of the male gaze, explaining how the female body, quote, is seen as something that exists just to make other people happy. The male gaze teaches us that to be visible, we must be groomed, thin, and young. We must tease, flirt, and exhibit ourselves. Paradoxically, visibility makes us vulnerable. Yeah, I think that's enough there. So here we go again with the media influencing the way we think. So we're already vulnerable by this mother wound. And now the media just gives us a little push towards seeing ourselves as less than, so much so that now we're just objects for the male gaze. And if we're not groomed, thin, and young, hit the streets, we don't want you here anymore. And that's just wrong, because you know what? Ungroomed women, groomed, whatever that means, maybe actually, I know what that means. It means, polish, no hair, whatever, nails, chemicals all over our body. I'll get into that in another video. Ungroomed women are still women, period. And, me not shaving my legs and me not shaving my armpits doesn't make me less of a woman than someone who does do those things. And also, to counter that point, if a woman wants to do that to themselves, they want to groom themselves, they want to, do all these things, that's not my business. And I'm never going to turn around and say, oh, she's not a woman because she's doing those things. That's her business. So I'm not going to say that, and I would never say that. Thin, I'm so tired of this. A thin person or a fat person, and I don't mean fat in a derogatory way, I mean someone who's, I don't know what the right terminology is. I don't mean fat in a derogatory way, I just mean someone who has extra fat on their body. I don't know. I don't want to use plus size because that indicates that there's a negative size. So I don't really know how to word it. Someone who has more fat on their body, there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody is built differently. Everybody stores fat in different places, and to try and put everyone into one mold, it's bullshit. It's total bullshit. And you know what? To those women out there that are trying to get thin for men, guess what? Because there is someone out there that is going to love you for the size your body is meant to be, not the size that you think you're supposed to be. The size that your body is meant to be when you eat healthy, you exercise, and take care of yourself. And not everybody is going to be a size 2 by doing those things. It's just not possible. And also, for a second, I'm just going to go off on a tangent. Fork these fashion manufacturers that are making all these different sizes where you're like, oh, I'm a 2 in this brand, but then I'm a 7 or 8 in this brand. Like, annoying. It's annoying. Why is everything just different sizes? I hate that. That's actually one thing that was really triggering to me when I had problems with my eating disorder, or disorders, if you will. I was like, I can't wear bigger than a size 5. Well, guess what? Some of the clothes that I really liked, I wasn't a size 5, so I just ended up not buying them just because of this stupid label. It's ridiculous. So that's a whole nother thing, fashion and all of the like tricks and stuff that they do that I don't like and that I think is brainwashing. But I'm going off on a tangent. So I'm coming back to the mother wound and toxic masculinity. And the third thing is to be young. Okay, guys, this is a billion-dollar worldwide industry that we all think we need to look so young. What's wrong with looking old? Like, oh, it's not attractive? Like, there's more important things in the world than being attractive. Like, what did you learn today? Like, guys, we don't need this. We don't need this. And I'll tell you a funny story, or at least I think it's funny. I was like 16 or 17 years old, maybe even 15. Anyways, I was in my like late-ish teens. And I went to a pharmacy and I asked the lady at the beauty counter, I said, what anti-aging products do you have for me? And the lady like was like, what? And I was like, yeah, like, I don't want to get wrinkles. I don't want to look old. So do you have something for me? And she was like, no, no, I don't have anything for you. Like, come back when you're 40 or whatever she said. And I was just so brainwashed by the media to think that old was like a problem that I was actually trying to like buy anti-aging products when I was still in my teens. Like, I was still a child, and yet here I was trying to like fix my appearance. So that says it all right there. I had this like belief that in order to be valuable, I had to be uh, primped. I can't remember what the word is. Thin and young. I was like, oh, I'm getting old. I was in my teens. I was already spending a bunch of money on beauty products that was making my skin like, help me. And I don't know, guys. I had an eating disorder. I still do. I mean, it's definitely not like in progress right now. But I definitely have those thoughts now and again. Like the other day when I was stressed, I was like, oh my God, I just want to go eat something. I was feeling so stressed, and that was like my one of my first like instincts was like, go eat something, go eat it all. I think I no this I was gonna say I talked about this in another video, but it was actually another time after this. And you know what? I actually told my partner, you know what? I'm really struggling right now because I just want to go eat like a whole bag of chips, or I just want to go eat like a whole pizza. And just speaking about it kind of made me realize, like, you know what? I don't need to do that. And luckily I didn't, and I felt a lot better that I didn't. So, yeah, and just I guess talking on toxic masculinity for men, I'm, I'm not a man. I've never been a man. I've never thought I was a man, so I don't really have these thoughts. But just before we go all gung ho on like, oh, it's all the men's fault and fork them and all this stuff, they're struggling with it too. This is not something that's working for anybody. So what do we got to do? We got to smash this patriarchy. We've got to get more women in charge, whatever that means. Like, if you believe that more women should run for office, or more women should be running things like managers, CEOs, etc., put your dollar where you want to see the change. So if you want more women run businesses, you need to start buying things from them, don't go to Walmart and buy a bunch of crap from corporations. Go on Etsy or go to your local farmers market and find things that you like, of course, that are run by women. This is the only way. Like, this is like a stupid game, like this like matrix of like corporate owned stuff and blah blah blah. But you know, unfortunately, if you're in the Western culture right now, that's how you have to play the game. Is you need to put your money towards things that you believe in. Or you could just move away to the other side of the planet and just start living your life over here with me. It's pretty good. I mean, it's good for me. I definitely see some discrimination happening against women here. Obviously, this is, you know, not a perfect place for women either. And to be honest, I don't know if there is a perfect place for women in this world. I've heard of some like matriarchal like tribes, but to be honest with you, like I like the internet and I don't think I could ever live in a tribe. I like the idea of it, but I don't think I could ever like disconnect fully and just go in it hard. Harden the paint. I haven't said that in like 10 years. I don't know. Anyways, so what do we got to do? We got to support each other as women and support the men too. Like let us all be vulnerable. Let us all show emotions and let's just start being real with each other. Let's stop this like crap about like, oh, I just have to have a filter on or I can't put myself online. Well, fuck a filter. You know, like people want to see the real you, and if they don't want to see you, they won't look. And if they have something to say, well, block them. Who cares? Um, do you at the end of the day? Let's see. We just need to work together, all of us, but specifically women. If you're a woman and you're watching this, please just see other women not as your enemy, not as competition, but as your friend. Because the more we work together, the more amazing stuff we can accomplish. Honestly, we got this. So, on that note, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye. Ooh, it's still filming. How awkward. See you.